We have begun.
Okay.
Jill is wearing her beanie. It's very cold, actually.
Cold. It's cold.
Chilly. So we're gonna go to more schools, but we couldn't go to those because
we were going to see people up north too.
There was a freak snowstorm.
Yeah.
It was not good. And in fact, we still ended up getting some of it, even though we went way far south. It was,
And we got wind, a lot of wind.
I'm really sad. I'm still really sad we didn't get to go to Colorado particularly.
I was going to take her to Colorado College where my son goes to.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
I know, and I was looking forward to seeing like University of Denver.
Yeah.
Like I was hoping to see Fort Collins. Like we've had a couple kids apply. Yeah.
Nothing happened. And I never got a sweatshirt. I collect college sweatshirts. And I had so many plans. I was going to get one from UC Santa Barbara because I graduated from there. And that didn't happen. And then I was going to get one at Colorado College. And that didn't happen.
You did get a really cute rice shirt.
I did get a cute rice shirt. But I have no sweatshirt from
It was so hot that she was like, I can't get the sweatshirt. And she ended up getting the t-shirt. And it is really cute. But like...
Critical mistake.
It was a critical mistake because now it's cold.
I didn't add anything to my collection.
Yeah. Okay, so
what are we doing?
So here's where we left off. We talked about some of the Texas schools, but we did see one more, Trinity, in San Antonio, which we didn't talk about. And then, so we're talking about that.
I just want to be clear, we don't think we talked about it, but we're not 100% sure.
That's true. And then we saw a cave. No, wait, okay, so no, that's different. You can't go to college there.
I would.
Yeah, it was a cool cave. Okay, so we saw Trinity. And then we saw University of New Mexico. We saw, what else did we see? We went to we got to California. We saw University of Redlands. We saw Chapman. We saw, what else did we see? We saw Occidental. We saw UC Irvine. We saw a bunch of UC.
San Diego, University of San Diego.
Oh yeah, University of San Diego. And I mean, Jill took me past UCs, and also past she's like, that's a Cal State. I'm like, what?
And we did tour at Orange Coast College.
Yeah, and she's like, come see a California community college. So I was like, okay. So we did do that. I mean, it
was fun.
Yeah, I'm having fun. We saw a lot of stuff.
And then we don't have a lot planned for the rest of the trip, but
yeah. Because a lot of our plans wouldn't ride. But okay, let's talk about the schools. What did you? Well, you know these schools so well.
Yeah.
So you were trying to point certain things out to me in particular, but what?
So I'm just gonna say, and I gotta concentrate a little bit because of the weather. But I just want to say, I was so nervous about taking you to California schools.
Yeah.
I was so nervous, and I didn't think you would like them. And I was trying to act all cool, whatever. She didn't like them. She didn't like them. And I was so pleasantly surprised when we toured Redlands that you really, really liked it.
I did really like it.
Yeah. And that made me really happy.
I think my revelation from that, it was that there were more sort of liberal artsy kind of schools in California, where I could see our liberal arts loving kids, going, for clients and, people talking about in our group and stuff. And I think that, there is a bit of I know these East Coast schools really well. I know those. And I think people get this idea about them where they're sort of that's where that's the home of liberal arts schools, basically.
Right.
And
that's not true. There's a lot of great liberal arts.
There are across the country. And I know that, but I think in California, the names, and I didn't know them quite as well. And I've come to know them a little bit I know Occidental is good. Oh, I know Chapman is good for this and that. But I had not seen them, and so I didn't have the vibe of them as much. And I saw them, and I really liked a lot of them. I really liked Redlands, which is not a small liberal arts school, but has some liberal arts feels. And programs that are, more flexible like that, which I think is good. It was gorgeous, you guys. It was so pretty.
We went on a very magical day. It was completely sunny. It was kind of warm, but not hot at all.
The orange trees were dropping oranges.
Oh, we went to all the...
Oh, we went to all the Claremonts. I can't believe I forgot forgot about that.
Because we ate oranges there. That's what made us regret.
Yeah, we took the oranges off the tree.
Because my blood sugar crashed.
And I was like, I know what to do, because she has food. But,
Spring breaks.
and we were like, and the oranges at Mills were like, not Mills, that's the one up at
Scripps?
At Scripps.
Yeah.
Were like bad. I don't know what that was.
So
I think we just got a bad one, because I actually really liked Scripps, but the one at Pomona, the oranges from Pomona were really
got my blood sugar right back up.
I can't believe this is in our video now.
Okay,
about the story of it.
Okay.
But no, but there were just so many liberal arts schools, and I really enjoyed them.
Yeah.
And they all had their own little feel and vibe and stuff. I think I just didn't. I needed to see that. It was really useful for me.
See it, talk to, like Redlands. The thing they really stressed there was how important service is.
Yeah.
And how happy the campus is.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that about Redlands. I also love their music program, which any of our music kids knows. I'm always recommending it. And I love their Johnson program. But the idea that the service and all the hours that all the kids are giving I love that.
Yeah, they have some top ranking of certification for, universities that have big, service requirements and stuff. I didn't know that, and I thought that was really interesting. I really liked our guy that we talked in admission. He was really good.
Wonderful. Shout out to that guy.
I enjoyed seeing that. They had a big esports program, which was cool.
And they really were proud.
They're like Division 1 for esports.
And they're so proud of it. They're like, go stop by there. Yeah,
I know, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were because when we were in, where was it that we saw like the crazy awesome esports at Auburn? No, Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But it was it was like off the hook. Like kids were like, it was really serious. And this was like that too at Redlands. I was surprised at Chapman, because I think of Chapman as for film and dance.
It is for film.
It is for film and dance. And we went in the film building. That was amazing. The film building was really cool. She was like, because she went to film school, so she's like.
Well, and I've been there. I love Dodge.
Yeah.
This Dodge school there.
Yeah. It was that was really nice. But I was surprised by how top-notch their science facilities were, and how much they're trying to grow their engineering program. Yeah. That was my big takeaway at Chapman.
And they're putting a ton of money in it.
Yeah, and that building was so it's a relatively new building. It's huge.
Beautiful.
It was really beautiful. I liked the way it went along the side of the field. So like the guy in admissions was saying, like, it's the best view when there's a game, and like also
it truly is, because you can look out the windows and just see it.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. And
can I tell you my takeaway from Chapman?
Yeah, what was your takeaway?
I mean, I love the film program there. My son applied there. I've toured many times on the film, so I know that really well.
Yeah.
My takeaway is when you walk into that student center.
Oh yeah.
It is such a student space.
Yes.
More than any other school I saw.
Yeah.
And it felt good.
Chapman was the school where, so, I mean, like, it can be hard to get a sense of, like, okay, where's, like, especially, like, sometimes it just timing-wise, we get to a campus, it's late afternoon, or we have to go on the weekend. I know. It just is what it is. Blame New Mexico, or Texas, or wherever the heck we are now.
We're still in New Mexico.
But at Chapman, that was the school where it was like there was nowhere sacred. They put the flyers everywhere.
And no one's telling the students you have to take them down. Oh, and they had all that paper you could take if you were a club.
Oh, that was at Chapman. Yeah, I liked that. And the table was hopping too. Like there was the student services. People were there. It was, they had the little nooks for studying. They were all being used with the big red benches and all. I liked
Chapman's
that.
a great place.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I was surprised by how much I liked Chapman. And I mean, I'm a dance mom, like not like a dance mom TM, but I'm a dance mom. And those were really nice studios, I will say, for dance.
Yeah, we were very. The whole dance building was
really nice.
Yeah.
The studios were really great. Yeah. Let's see, what else? Other takeaways. I have to say, the UCs, like, and we spent the most time at UC Irvine, but you took me past places.
Yeah.
But
I was just thinking of a tour. I have to tell everyone this story. So we were walking around UC Irvine with a family of ours.
Yeah.
And I was trying to give
used to live there. She knows it really well.
I lived
She
like
knows,
2 blocks
this
from
is
her
this.
life for over 20 years. So I know it really, really, really well. Now we're doing a tour. It's a Sunday, so it's kind of quiet. And someone pulled up in their little golf cart and is like, can I help you? And I'm like, we're doing a tour, blah, blah. And he's like, can I take you around? And we're like, yeah. So we get on this tour with this gentleman who works at UC Irvine.
Yeah.
And he's telling us all the facts, and he's giving a lot of good information.
It was really nice.
So we're on this little golf cart.
Yeah.
And our student that we work with is in the front because he's the biggest. So there's 3 of us in the back. And it was a tight squeeze, I will say. And so what are those poles called?
Pylon. They're like a little pylon.
To stop cars from coming through certain areas. Well, he went right through on the golf cart. And she got injured. She hit her knee or something on it so hard.
It like squeaked because it was a little tight back there. I just had my leg out. Like I just wasn't, and I was backwards, so I didn't know it was coming. Like
none of us knew it was coming. And then the other person we were with is like, oh, her knee got hit, but he just kept going. I know he heard us, but he didn't want to stop or anything. And her knee and leg is so bruised in 2 spots. I'm surprised it didn't happen to me because that stuff that happens to me. UC Irvine's a wonderful campus. I love it. I like that they're working on housing so much for kids there. And the first 2 years
Irvine and UCLA also.
First 2 years are guaranteed for students with housing at the UCs, which is quite different than many of those schools in Texas.
Yes.
And other places. Yeah. I will say that for me, because in the first video we talked about how I love big public schools, and I did like a lot of those that we first saw. California may have flipped that a little bit. But in California, I did like some of the smaller schools.
Yeah.
Like Chapman and Redlands and Pitzer and those. I love Pitzer. Occidental. I loved Occidental. I love UC Santa Barbara, but we didn't get a chance to look at that one.
Yeah.
But everything has a slightly different vibe. Sometimes you don't know why you like something more than others necessarily.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I mean, when you compare, because we saw a lot of big public universities in Texas and then again in California.
Yeah.
And it's just there's these really different priorities with them in terms of housing and student support services. So I guess that's just something to be aware of. I don't know what else to kind of.
I tell you one thing I liked about the UC Irvine housing is that in each little cluster, and they have different clusters, there are music practice rooms that were very nice, and I really like those. There was little gyms that were actually quite big.
Yeah.
In the little housing area, so you don't have to go all the way to the main gym.
Right.
There was, of course, the pool tables and all that, but it was just they offered a lot for each little housing section, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, I liked that too.
Okay.
Okay, so wait, we forgot Occidental. I don't know how we did that.
I don't know how we did that because that was one of my favorite tours.
Yeah.
One of our clients is a professor there, and she very graciously gave us a half-day tour of the school and took us out to lunch in the neighborhood. And it was amazing. And I've always loved Occidental. I lived in Pasadena as a teen. It's really close. It's in Eagle Rock. It was very close to my heart, but I loved it even more. And a great vibe.
I really liked the vibe there. I said this in our group, but it reminded me of, some of these, it reminded me of Clark a little bit. Just the look was really different.
Yeah.
But just some of the things about how accessible professors were, and that it's a liberal arts school that has a little bit of a name, but isn't it's a bigger name in some areas.
Right.
I think on the West Coast, people know Occidental,
Definitely know.
aka Oxy, they know it.
Yeah.
But on the East Coast, people don't know it at all. So I think it's like a regional big name, which is kind of a funny thing.
I think some people might know that Obama spent his first 2 years there.
Yeah, so Obama, people know that, and they tout it all over the place.
It's all over.
There were stairs, and there was a sign. There's a program.
Graduate from here. Come on. But whatever. Be proud. Be proud.
Yeah.
I would kind of be like, ooh, he transferred, but they're really proud of it, so that's good.
But wait. He did the same thing that your son did, right?
Well,
he started in a small school, and then he went to the big school, which is exactly what
Truffaut did.
Yeah, but
and
that's
he tells everyone to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully Hamilton will know
programs, like the media and arts and the and econ is really good. I mean, they just had really great stuff.
Diplomacy.
The housing was like nice.
Housing was nice. The area around it has great restaurants and shops. It's a really good option, and I think a ton of homeschoolers will be really happy there.
Yeah, it struck me as a place where homeschoolers would be really happy.
I wanted to go to Santa Barbara after that, and our friend who gave us
I
a
really
tour
wanted
was
to see the Clearmonts.
Why are you going to the Clearmonts?
I know, and going into town, into California, I was like, oh, are we going to see the Clearmonts? And she's like, I don't know, maybe. I was really glad I saw it because I knew that they were all right next to each other, but I didn't really fully have a picture of how they bleed into each other, and have certain buildings that are shared, like the big Keck Science Center, which is under construction.
Yeah.
So that they've got, and they have shared
but
sports
also how
teams.
they're separate completely.
Yes, also how you go from Harvey Mudd and it's like, oh, this is clearly Harvey Mudd, and then you walk to Pomona and it's like, yeah, with the cinder blocks and the little square things in the middle. Anyway, and then you go at Pitzer's campus, which all the xeriscaping and the desert.
Pitzer has my heart as far as
they really embrace the. And I have to say, because I know I dissed their oranges earlier, but
don't diss their oranges.
I mean, and it is just, I went to women's college. Women's colleges have a certain vibe sometimes, and Scripps had it in spades. And it was awesome. They had that wall that you signed.
Actually, I have a video of that. I'm going to put it up. It was
cool.
amazing.
It was really cool.
Yeah. From all the classes.
All the different classes.
And the class from 1944. It was so tragic.
Yeah.
But it reflected the time so perfectly. That's why I started doing the video. Everyone needs to see it.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. But also it just, I mean, the housing, it was just gorgeous. And the buildings were a little bit older than some of the other schools. But it was one of those schools where you get on campus and you're like, oh, this is a school with traditions. I can feel it,
So Pitzer is just like a Western paradise. And I love their buildings and the cactus and the way they landscaped. And
I like that the volleyball court was right there next to the student center.
I loved everything about Pitzer. Pomona was great. That was quite large. They really do.
I like the free expression wall there.
Right into the next one without a big division at all. But they feel very different from each other, which is really unique. And it's in Claremont. It's in a great little town with lots of great shops.
Yeah, we went down to the town too, and that was really
That's
nice.
always a great place to stop. The mountains are right there. You can drive up to the mountains. Palm Springs an hour away. LA is 45 minutes. It's a great location. You can get to the beach in an hour 15.
Yeah.
So it's inland. It does get warmer, especially in the September, October. It can be quite hot, but it's in a really great location.
That University of San Diego was really interesting.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it? To me, it reminded me of other Catholic colleges. So I went to Fairfield not that long ago in Connecticut. Also a Catholic college, also with, also with programs in engineering and, a focus on sort of core humanities and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, this has the California version of that vibe. It was beautiful. The food there, you guys. I actually talked to the chef briefly because I'd go into buildings and talk to people. And he was like, yes, it's very important to the students' well-being. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wish everywhere understood that. It's a beautiful campus. The views were beautiful.
You can see the ocean right below.
Yeah, you can see the ocean.
Perfect weather there.
Yeah, I mean, and that you don't have to worry as much.
So one thing I didn't like, we were there on the weekend.
Yeah.
And they really rent out campus space to outside organizations and to weddings
and to weddings because they have a beautiful chapel.
They had so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
And not the students.
We initially thought it was spring break and that they had rented it out for that reason. But no, they just had 2 conferences, a wedding, at least one, maybe a second wedding. And a sort of, it was a mariachi music camp. Which
was cool.
It was cool.
I love the mariachi music camp. I love seeing all the music, but they were high schoolers. And it was just a disaster. They were just, And so you asked the chef about that, and he said they do that quite often.
Yeah, I did. Because then I got up to because we were seeing all the academic buildings and stuff, but
how much I love Trinity. Because I don't think we talked about it too much. Trinity, to me, was so lovely and such a nice campus.
Yeah.
And the admissions person was so nice.
Yeah.
And I love the facilities. I love their chapel, which I always go into.
Oh, yeah. That was
and
gorgeous.
I love their science building. I love their art building.
I left the mural in the library.
I love, and I love the Starbucks. I mean, I just loved that campus. I know that gets quite hot, and Texas is not for everyone.
Uh-huh.
But if I had to go to a Texas school, I love Trinity. So that surprised me.
Yeah, I thought of it for our students who want it's a little bit sporty, which I thought was nice.
Seems like you can double major there fairly easily.
Yeah, I had that takeaway.
Yeah.
They just had a really nice sense of themselves, I thought, also.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to have didn't get to have a long conversation with admissions there, which was unfortunate. But
long enough.
Yeah, it was nice.
Free swag.
They did give us a swag bag. Yeah.
And I loved. Well, I have shout out to Trinity for their board with all the majors and the artwork. Next surprise for me was how much I fell in love with Redlands again. I hadn't been there since the twins looked at it and applied. I don't know if it was like, oh, we got to California, we were really happy, and it was sunny, and the oranges were all there, and I knew the camp. I love the bulldog. Oh, the bulldog story from Redlands was amazing. You need to tell that.
It was the guy in admissions that we talked to, because she asked about the bulldog.
I knew the bulldog was a big deal because when my daughter applied there.
And our admissions guy that we talked to, he had gone to Redlands and he had been an athlete, so he was all in on the bulldog story. So I just thought it was interesting that the thing I thought was interesting was that the bulldog is like just somebody's bulldog. Like they just have somebody like who's got a bulldog, and who can the bulldog become like the new mascot, and then they had like a ceremony to graduate the old bulldog and like promote the new bulldog, and also that like one bulldog had to be graduated because he bit people like a couple times, or he tried to.
And if the bulldog's not too comfortable with it, they retire them. And they really care about this bulldog.
I know. I just thought it was
one
awesome.
Of the professors will be like, "Well, I'll take a bulldog," and then they'll get a bulldog, and then it becomes the mascot. I mean, it was just like this whole process.
Yes,
it was really cool.
I actually thought it was really sweet. I like a school tradition.
Yeah. So I fell in love with Redlands all over again. My third big takeaway is that UC Irvine has housing for 2 years. It didn't used to be like that just several years ago. And they're working hard to get housing to students because they know it's such an issue. And like at UC Santa Cruz, that's a huge issue. LA's done such great strides. Irvine's trying to catch up. It does make the campus extremely big because they're building so much housing, but it's necessary. And I appreciated that, especially Irvine is so expensive, that they're trying to work hard to get students housing. So my fourth takeaway.
Oh, you had a lot of takeaways.
And I knew this, but it was just nice to see it again, is how diverse California is and how diverse the student body populations is everywhere. I just really was happy to be back in that.
Yeah, especially a lot of Asian and Latino students.
Yeah. One last thing we did not talk about at all, and I just want to mention it, is the University of New Mexico.
Okay, so this was a weekend stop.
Right, weekend.
And you could feel how much it was a commuter campus. I will say that.
Yeah.
But when we got down to like where Honors College was and Honors College housing, there were a bunch of kids out and they were having fun, and I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
And I liked the campus a lot.
I know. We liked the Desert Southwest.
I did, yeah. I actually been to that. I had been to that one before.
I have too.
But it was lovely.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. So here's what I like about University of New Mexico. Let's say you want to be somewhere far away from home,
Right.
okay? And whether that's like from California or like from the East Coast or whatever, they have really great out-of-state merit and scholarships and need-based aid. Like they give great aid out of state.
Yeah.
And then once you've gotten there, you can get in-state tuition. And I think also they can just give you in-state tuition. I forget how that works, but there's some circumstances.
Also Western undergrad.
Yeah, it's also WE storm.
Yep.
Anyway,
Okay, I think that, did we cover them all?
I think we probably did. I don't know. We probably forgot one.
We got one more video to make. So
Okay, we're gonna
hopefully
see some
it
other
won't be in the
schools.
car, but it may be.
Oh my God, on to Tulsa.
Okay.